Welcome back to another Nourish to Flourish segment with yours truly, Megan the Trainer, registered dietitian. In my last episode, I talked about some things relating to digestion, and I'm going to kind of deep dive into one of those concepts, one of those ideas. There's many when it comes to digestion, but I'm going to talk about something called the MMC, or the Migrating Motor Complex.
What?
This is essentially a big cleaning wave, kind of a housekeeping wave that passes through your GI system. And it helps, again, just like I was saying, cleaning, housekeeping, it helps just to move things along. Now, why is this important? We don't want stuff getting stuck or lingering too long in your intestines or throughout your GI tract in general, whether it's up in your stomach, in your small intestine, in your large intestines. We want things moving along. MMC wave is something that's going to be triggered and stimulated somewhere between like 1.5 to every 3 hours. Probably a little bit closer towards that later end. But the big purpose behind it is, again, you cannot have this cleaning, this housekeeping wave if you are snacking, if you are eating, if you are grazing, because that's going to stop it. So this is where it is a value from a digestive perspective to allow your GI system to rest in between meals. This isn't to say that you need to go on like a big complete fast, so to say, but a value to grouping your meals, grouping your eating opportunities together and allowing a little bit of space, a little bit of digestion to take place in between your meals. So if we cannot let this MMC wave come through, then that means that, again, there's no cleaning, there's no housekeeping that comes through the GI tract. It's just our food passing through. But if we have something called low motilin, motilin is a hormone, and that is the main one that triggers this MMC wave. But if we don't have that MMC wave, if we have low motilin, that can kind of manifest in some kind of gnarly conditions. One of the biggest ones being SIBO, SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So you've probably heard of the gut microbiome. And it's supposed to stay in certain areas in our intestines. And if those gut bugs kind of creep their way into areas where they're not supposed to be, that can cause a lot of gut dysbiosis and a lot of uncomfortable GI symptoms. And so that's where the importance of the MMC wave comes into play, where it helps to kind of push everything down, keep everything where it needs to be. Some other signs and things that could be, potentially connecting to either low motilin or just not having a proper MMC wave could be chronic constipation. So things are just getting stuck, things just aren't moving through your intestinal tract. Dyspepsia, or essentially what this means is we just have kind of a dysfunction in our stomach acid. So this could sometimes manifest in a lot of belching, a lot of burping after meals, a lot of gas, some bloating. We can have gastroparesis, or delayed stomach emptying. Now, again, for some people, you're like, well, hey, I thought I wanted digestion to slow down. I thought, we would want to have a slow or a delayed emptying. And to an extent, we don't want things just rip-roaring through your intestines, of course, but at the same time, there is value in keeping things moving, and this is, again, a big point behind a lot of that. This is one thing that our body does naturally to help keep those things moving through.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Different things like IBS could also manifest, irritable bowel syndrome, and as I mentioned before, SIBO is another thing. So my biggest tip to you is make sure that, again, as we get through this holiday season, it's easy to kind of snack and to kind of keep munching on some things, but see if you can kind of challenge yourself to allow some space between those eating opportunities. So that way we can have that big cleaning wave come through and help push things along, moving things along. So now that you know better, let's go out and do better so we can all be better.